thank you for allowing me to be here, Cheryl. Delighted to, I'm here to give and hopefully create a change,
Yeah.
something, a lasting transformation, if at all possible. I started my business 21 years ago, and I didn't get enough clients to pay for my Manhattan rent, and I started living off of my credit cards for my life and my business. And I had to figure out a system to get clients for myself. And just to make a long story short, I created a client attraction system for myself that filled my coaching practice to full capacity in 8 months. And other people started asking me about it. And a year later, after having shared my process with other people, um, I became a business coach, and I filled that business to full capacity using the same client attraction system within a very short period of time. And I got to a it was just me, little Fabienne on the phone coaching, 30 minutes
Yeah.
a week, 3 times a month. And at full capacity, I realized that I couldn't grow. I was working on evenings and weekends, and I had become the bottleneck in the company. I knew I wanted to grow, but I was working too long hours, underpaying myself, and wondering if this was sustainable because I was already starting to have children, and I didn't want to put them to bed and go back to work, until midnight. And I just started thinking, like, really researching, how does one scale her business, but not do it the way some people were doing it, which is to, work more. If
Right.
I was already at six figures, but working at top capacity, how would I ever get to multiple six figures?
Yeah.
There was no more of me and no more time to go around. So I had to use a different approach. And what I realized, Cheryl, is that what had gotten me to six figures would never get me to seven figures. I had to take a different course of action. I had to do something counterintuitive. And here's what I learned: to grow past six figures to seven figures, you actually have to work less. You have to do less, but better. And this is when I started doing things differently, questioning everything. If I was going to have a quantum leap, and I know that's a term that's used a lot, but
Mhm.
I was going to create exponential growth for my business, but also for my quality of life. Because I have a wonderful husband, and now I have three kids. And I didn't want to be tied to my business because I enjoy my time off, right? I enjoy my freedom. I didn't want to sacrifice my life. I needed to do things differently. And so I started really looking at, how could I get help? How could I leverage my team? How could I create some systems and leverage processes and automation and delegation? How could I use my time differently? And how could I set up my business model so it wasn't just me holding everybody's hand, and so on and so forth? And over the years, I created a process, and but very rapidly, it took me to 1 million in my business as a coach. That was 2008,
Mm.
and so I've been at multiple. I share this only for context. I've been at multiple million a year for 14 years, and my little babies are now teenagers, but I
Yeah.
still have the 14 weeks of vacation a year. And here's what I've realized is there are 8 things that you must activate in your business.
Mm.
And none of them are actually, when you first hear them, they're not rocket science. There's
Right.
like, really, well, I knew I had to get a team. I knew I had to get systems. I knew I had to,
Mhm.
time. But I'm approaching it in a different way. Not a masculine perspective of
Mhm.
work harder, work
Yeah.
more hours,
Right.
hustle. I don't know about you, but we women, we don't want to necessarily do the 5 a.m. club, the 6 a.m. miracle morning. Like, I don't know. I tried all of that.
Mhm.
And what I've realized is I like to ease into the day,
Yes,
not
me too.
always seize the day, right?
Yeah.
And so I came up with a different approach, and it's what I put in my book, The Leveraged Business, how you can go from overwhelmed at six figures and reach seven figures with your life back. And it's been transforming the lives of women for more than 10 years. Women who you would never imagine, if you
Mhm.
saw them at the grocery store, you would never imagine they're making more than 1 million a year. They're just normal people.
Yeah.
They're just approaching their business differently. So I have a program called the Leveraged Business Program, and the book, of
Yeah.
course, the assessment, all of that. And that's what I teach to help women make their own money and lots of it.
Well, I love that. I love that you talked about systems and processes and really delegating because that's kind of like the hardest thing for us, I think. Is to
Hmm.
really outsource things and let go of things that we really don't want to do or don't need to be doing and give it to someone else and really trust that they're going to do it correctly. So, yeah. But it's a big thing. Like if we want to move to that next level, we have to learn how to do those things. And it's, I think, a level of leadership, actually,
I think you're
making that
absolutely
decision.
right. It's also a big self-leadership opportunity is to say, okay, so what got me here? Like the team that got me here
Mhm.
is not going to get me to seven figures. The
Right.
systems or non-systems that I have now is not going to get me to seven figures. The way I'm using my time now, it's not going to get me to seven figures. The way I've set up my business model now is not going to get me to seven figures,
Right.
etc. So it's about self-leadership, really.
Right. Wow. So do you think it's possible to double our revenue working half the time? And how can we do that? How can we make that possible?
If you think about it, Cheryl, most of us entrepreneurs are doing way too many things.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you think about our friends who are in corporate, and some of them work really long hours too, but they're paid to deliver a result,
Mhm.
right? To the client, to, I don't know, whatever. They're paid for to do mostly one thing.
Yeah.
And so are we. We're
Hmm.
paid to deliver our results to the clients, the customers, the patients, whatever.
Yeah.
But on top of that, we have to do all of our own marketing. And on top of that, we have to do all of our own selling
Hmm.
and customer service in the beginning and financial stuff and hiring and firing
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you probably are laughing because you know exactly
I
what I
know
mean.
exactly. Yeah.
Hmm. And so we don't have the same job
Mhm.
that our friends in corporate have. We probably have two and a half full-time jobs, which means that we're overwhelmed. And because in the beginning we have more time than we have money, we're doing everything ourselves and bootstrapping it.
Yeah.
And even if we've reached six figures, we're still all hands on deck, fly by the seat of my pants. I'll get it done. Just let me work harder. Let me work into the night. Let me try to tackle my to do list. There's a point at which that approach will no longer work. This is where um, we have to shift our approach and look at it and say, why am I doing this? And am I really good at this? Is this the best use of my time? Am
Right.
I actually getting paid for this? And to start looking at everything we do to be about questioning, is this a money generating activity?
Mm.
Is this an exponential growth activity?
Hmm.
And if the answer is no to either of those questions, you really shouldn't be doing it. So we start with the idea of leveraging a team and just saying, okay, who can help me with this? It's not about how, it's about who can I get to help me
Yeah.
with this? Because if they take this off my plate, then I have time to go get more clients.
Right.
If they take this off my plate, I have time to work on the exponential growth activities that will get me another 100,000 a year. Um, Same thing with systems.
Hmm.
Anything that you're still involved in and you can't seem to let go of in your business is likely because there isn't a solid system around it. Because if there was a documented system or process or methodology, then that could be delegated to somebody else and they could take that off your plate. But until everything is documented, and
Mhm.
until we as the business owner take on the identity of not being the doer, but being the leader
Mhm.
of a process driven company, where it's not the Fabienne show, it's not the Cheryl show,
Mhm.
it's a methodology that exists to get the client's results without you being the one to hold their hand.
Mhm.
Until that happens, you'll still be stuck in the day-to-day operations, the day-to-day delivery to your clients. So this is really just about shifting how you show up, how you're supported, what kind of structures you have in place. It's not like we haven't heard of this. It's just we as women especially haven't given ourselves permission to do this. And then what we get to is a shift in business model
Mhm.
where the one-to-one, if let's say you're making 100,000
Mhm.
and you've become the bottleneck in your company, even if you're making 50,000 a year, to make 500,000 would mean 10 times the number of clients, theoretically. And to make 1 million, you would have to have 10 times the number of clients you have when you are at 100,000. Could you handle 10 times the clients? The answer is likely no, right? So we would need to shift the way you deliver your results to your clients. And that means we have to leverage a different type of business model.
Oh.
And there's a lot of mindset work that comes into play here because we have been taught that the clients get results from us.
Mhm.
But that's not actually true.
Right.
The clients get results from the process we take them through, but do you have to be the one holding their hand through the process? And the key that gets in the way for many of us is that we have this limiting belief that says they only want me. They will only get results with me.
Mm.
They won't pay
Mhm.
if it's not me.
Yeah.
And once we get over that, and this is what I take all of our clients through. Once we get over that, we can then start seeing that there are countless permutations of how you can actually deliver those results to the clients without being the one to micromanage the whole process and hold their hand. And in fact, when you do it correctly, they'll get results, better results, without you being involved in every single aspect of the delivery. And that's when you get your life back. That's when you can work with so many more clients without it being crushing.
Yeah. Burning out, overwhelm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. I love how you mentioned the mindset thing. It's so that was going through my mind. It's like it's so many mindset issues that come up with this. Because
Yeah.
even me, I talk to many women, and the first thing is like it's all mindset stuff. That's why,
Always.
yeah, always. That's why you're not moving forward. And so, yeah, so it's just, and I think that because we wear so many hats at home, maybe that translates into the business too. We feel like we have to do everything in the business because we're doing a lot at home. Or something like that. But yeah, it's just so much that comes up internally. And then when things don't go right, we internalize that. And, so like you said, it's just every level is like a new mindset adjustment to every level, adapting to new normals and things like that. And not
Yeah.
really, yeah, it's just so much of that. So I just love that. So I want to talk about this, the difference between the masculine and feminine energy and how that relates to growing a business.
So I've studied the masculine feminine dichotomy. I also call it yin and yang or yin and yang, if you
Mhm.
look at it that way, especially today. Saying something is masculine, you have to be masculine this way if you want to be masculine, and this way and you're feminine, it really is outdated. But there, if you look at it as feminine energy, not man and woman, masculine energy, not man and woman, because women can have masculine energy and
Yeah.
and men can have Feminine energy.
Mhm.
The masculine energy is a more of a push energy, where the feminine energy is more of a pull towards you energy. The
Okay.
masculine energy is a solo energy, competition, winning, and the feminine energy is more of a community, talking it through, getting support. It is an energy of collaboration, and we need both. And because, if you think about it, how long has it really been that women have had their own business and making six figures, multiple six figures, seven figures? What is it, like 20 years?
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of examples
Right.
of those kinds of results. So what we're looking at, and the way many of us have been conditioned, is, especially if we've ever been in corporate, is that you have to act masculine
Hmm.
to be a successful business owner. And I'm telling you, I'm allergic to that.
Right.
I can't. I just
Yeah.
can't be who I'm not. There are some times that I go into my masculine energy and I hustle. We
Mhm.
there's room for all of us to do that, but I don't want to be push, 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 drive, hustle, 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 outwork everybody. That is just not me.
Right. I don't blame you.
I want more being time. I want more
Mhm.
pleasure in my life. And I want to pull people into working with me as opposed to beating people over the head with a 2x4. And once we women and those who have a heart-led energy realize that you can actually be successful in business if you tap into your feminine as well. Love, collaboration, nurturing. Think about it. Clients love to buy, they just don't love to be sold to. But they do like relationship, they do like connection, they do like people who are authentic, vulnerable, generous, nurturing, compassionate, giving, loving. People really respond to that. And if you can
Mhm.
tap into your feminine energy, for example, to attract new clients, but you tap into your masculine energy to do a little bit of hustle and get out there in a bigger way, when you use both of these, there's this alchemical marriage of the type of momentum
Mhm.
that allows you to grow your business much faster than if you were to only do one or the other. And so
Mm.
this is one of the things that we teach at Bold Heart in the Leveraged Business Program. And people ask me often, like, why did you name your company Bold Heart? You're a business coach. It was because I told them about this combination of masculine and feminine, where I asked people to take their ear
Mhm.
and put it to their heart and listen hard. Who do you want to be in the world of business? Like, how do you want to show up?
Yeah.
How do you want to make people feel, your clients, and even the people who never buy from you, but the people who follow you on social media or hear you speak? How do you want to be? What's your version of your business, your way? What does that look like?
Mhm.
Not taking into consideration what anybody else is doing. And then from that heart place of checking in and seeing who am I really and what do I really want, then boldly going after that. And
Mm.
part of that is changing the mindset that says, I don't know enough, I am not enough, they won't like it, they won't pay for that. No, no, boldly,
Mhm.
unapologetically, but yet elegantly make that happen. And the more I've tapped into both the feminine and the masculine, the more
Mhm.
everything has worked. That's why I talk about it so much and I teach it to our members.
I'm all about the feminine energy. But yeah, the balance of the masculine and feminine, it just makes so much sense. Like we were talking about leadership, and I think, yeah, it just you just have to have both for everything to make sense and everything to come together like it's supposed to. And of course, you prove that it works. So there you go. Like, what more do we need? I mean, as far as like us having it all in our businesses, whatever that all means to us individually, do we have to really sacrifice?
I think in the ways, if you look at a lot of the business advice that's
Uh,
out there, and listen, I just want to say, I love the guys, I love the masculine.
yeah.
But if you listen to a lot of the podcasts, you go on YouTube, you read a lot of the books, there's a lot of energy of sacrifice. Like, dig deep, go. And I'm thinking, okay,
Right.
I don't know if I don't want to sacrifice. I didn't want to sacrifice time with my kids to grow my business.
That's
There
true.
were some times I was on the road for sure,
Mhm.
but once I figured it out, I was home. I was done by 6. I
Mhm.
was taking vacations with the kids. I was with them in the evenings and not going back to my computer. And this energy of sacrifice, I think, is unnecessary. It's an
Mhm.
old paradigm. Instead, it's about really looking at what having it all means to you. And if you ask some people who are still operating in an old way, having it all means having the private jet, the private,
Mhm.
whatever, the 4 Lamborghinis or Italian sports cars in your garage. And I have to tell you, when I talk to women about that, they couldn't care less about how many Italian sports cars they have in their garage.
Right.
What they really want is freedom.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
want to make an impact on people's lives. They want to have freedom. They want to make money, but not at the expense of every waking moment,
Mhm.
like feeling just like empty. And so the question is, when I love Oprah. I have a
Mhm.
what would Oprah do
I love that.
on my desk. But
Mhm.
the one time I heard her say, having it all, it does, you can't have it all.
Right.
And um, I lovingly disagree. I think if you're trying to have it all for somebody from somebody else's value,
Mhm.
then yeah, you can't have it all. But what are your values?
Right.
If you want to work 4 days a week, if that's having it all, we can find a way to make that happen.
Mhm.
If you want to take unplugged vacations, we can make that happen. I was living in Connecticut for 36 years, or in the US. I decided having it all for me is to move to France with my husband and my 3 children.
Nice.
We tried it for 1 year. We're now on 6.5 years. That's what having it all means. Does
Yeah.
it mean that I have four what are you, testarossas in my garage? I don't even have a garage. I don't want a garage.
Mhm.
It's about looking again. It's about taking your ear to your heart and say, what does successful entrepreneurship? What kind of freedom does that give me?
Mhm.
And there are two types of freedom that I've been really thinking about a lot the last few years: freedom from and freedom to.
Yeah.
So, freedom from, if you were at multiple 6 or 7 figures in revenues and you could pay yourself well and shape your life so that you feel like you have it all, what does that mean for you? What would you stop doing? Right? Freedom from. And then having it all is also about what would you be free to have? Is it building schools in Kenya? Are you free to bring your money there? Great. Is it you want to build, Habitat for Humanity? You want to help people build houses? Do you want to create whatever it is? But instead of the shoulds that we have for ourselves, what if it were, I get to?
Mm.
And that's what having it all for me means. So maybe you want to live in the mountains on a cabin. Maybe you
Mhm.
want to travel the world. Maybe you want to teach Sunday school. Maybe you want to, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's about being really clear about what lights you up and doing that with with the freedom, the impact, and the money that you make from growing your business to the next level.
Wow. Yeah, I always said I wanted this a shirt that says freedom is my crush. I think for most of us women who are, in the process of creating a legacy, that we want to create freedom for ourselves and for our children, those coming up after us. And oh, breath of fresh air, Fabienne.
Well, if you want to hear more about the leverage methodology, I wrote a book called The Leveraged Business, and I give it away for free on my website. There's two places you can get it. You can get it at theleveragedbusinessbook.com. I just ask that you meet me halfway and just pay for the $2.95 shipping.
Mhm.
That shows me that it's not like, oh, I'll just get it for free and
Right.
just like leave it on my desk for, for 5 years, but you're actually interested in reading about how to take your business to the next big level. So that's the leveragedbusinessbook.com. You can also get it on boldheart.com.